see all this potential, and I see it squandered. God damn it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need.
Let me know if any of this already sounds all too familiar.
We're the middle children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is a spiritual war. Our Great Depression is our lives. We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't. We're slowly learning that fact. And we're very, very pissed off.
Something feels very off. Something's just not right. The world seems to have gone through some paradigm shift that we can't necessarily put our finger on. We all know that if someone's going through a hard time, obviously, they should seek therapy or maybe some pills or work out. We hear these things again and again and again. We all understand. A lot of people I know who were depressed found solace in hitting the gym. And it makes sense. It offers a place to blow off steam, and the hit of endorphins afterward is always a plus. Or they find some hobby or passion project to dive into. But here's the thing. It doesn't make this sense that something is horribly wrong go away, that nothing feels the same anymore. They're still depressed, don't get me wrong. It didn't cure it, but at least it's manageable. So what exactly is wrong? Why am I not the only one noticing this? If you like these kinds of videos and want to see more of them, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so I can make more content and get paid for the work I do. Do you think the depression experienced by you or your peers now is unique? That is to say, do you think, had you been placed in a prior generation, attitudes of you and your peers would be different, particularly better in some way? Do you feel discontent with this world, this time, this place? Like everyone and thing is too shallow, that a majority of interactions day to day is someone trying to sell you something?
Is brought to you by Pfizer. CDS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
The Travis Scott meal, just $6. Say Cactus Jackson.
It's Walmart's Black Friday deals for days. Score $30 Legos.
Your only purpose in life is to buy and consume merchandise, and you did it. You went into a store, an actual honest-to-God store, and you bought something. You didn't ask questions or raise ethical complaints. You just looked straight into the bleeding jaws of capitalism and said, "Yes, Daddy, please."
That everybody is knee-deep in hedonism instead of practicing an ounce of stoicism. That everyone is scrambling to get by instead of enjoying life. How many of your friends, or just you, are in this position? And no amount of pills or therapy or working out has fixed it. The gym helps, of course, no one's denying that, but many have what I have coined as grand scheme depression. It's unique in that it's not some chemical imbalance. It's grand scheme depression because of the state of being you find the world and the people around you to be in. It's technically external depression. There is nothing you can internally do to fix it. You have willpowered your way into the gym, into healthy eating. You have a good, satisfying job and a great family. You looked at the man in the mirror and fixed him to the best of your abilities. After all, that's the first and the best place to go. But you're still depressed. By process of elimination, the depression isn't you. It's anti-you. It's everything not you. When I say stoicism, what do you imagine? Do you think of those old cowboy films with Clint Eastwood, the strong, quiet, capable of handling themselves and accomplishing what they set their mind to? Stoicism is a rejection of hedonism, that pleasure is the ultimate, highest pursuit. Basically, to summarize it, it means to do what makes you happy. Instead, Stoicism puts more emphasis on values and honor, to live for something greater than yourself, even if it means a life of trials and tribulations. But oddly enough, this life will give you more fulfillment and purpose than any short-sighted, fleeting moment of hedonic pleasure ever could. Unfortunately, it's hard to escape our own hedonism. We have been cultured into a world where you're judged by your material wealth. How many times have you asked somebody how much they make and they just reluctantly refuse to give it out because they feel like it's a judgment of their character? Should we be judged by the favors we've done for friends or the deeds we've done for society? We are born into consumerism and taught to embrace it above all else. The depression is largely induced by society. It's a totally valid idea and one that I strongly support. I think the world could use a little less hedonism and a little more stoicism. So let me ask you this. Do you got a satisfying job, a good degree or skill set? Are you in shape? Are you financially well off? Are you not miserable, but you find yourself in a state of malaise, a little bit lackadaisical? Well, I'm here to say I don't think it's you. It's not internal. It's anti-you. Some might say a life of happiness or a life of virtue. At this point, would it be too soon to ask, where does happiness come from? Where does real, lasting fulfillment come from? There are generally several different happiness theories, if you will. One is that happiness comes from getting what you want, but we all know and research confirms that such happiness is short-lived. Why hit the gym and hope to get healthy when you're not necessarily gonna have fun doing it when you can just eat the donut now, A more promising hypothesis is that happiness comes from within and cannot be obtained by making the world conform to your desires. This idea was widespread in the ancient world. Buddha in India and the Stoic philosophers in ancient Greece and Rome all counseled people to break their emotional attachments to people and events, which are always unpredictable and uncontrollable, and to cultivate instead an attitude of acceptance. This ancient idea deserves respect, and it is certainly true that changing your mind is usually a more effective response to frustration than is changing the world. However, I have some doubts about the second version of happiness and why it's wrong. Life, science, and philosophy show that there are some things worth striving for. There are external conditions of life that can make you lastingly happier. One of these conditions is friends and family, the bonds we form, and need for community with others. Here's a study of the elderly living longer when surrounded by friends and family. So I think this whole grand scheme depression is likely due to people forgetting to form the happiness found in social bonds outside of themselves. There's even a book by John Haideth that I pulled from to help assemble this video. If you want to check it out, here it is on Amazon. It's a spectacular read.